Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We have successfully got rid of most of the heretics on Kiava Gamma. We've cleared out the map, and it is time for us to head back to the ship and basically wrap up Act 2 of the game. Now, there are still some things we need to do, especially with some systems that I need to go back to that apparently I missed previously, thinking that they were just simply unavailable. So, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to level up. We're going to have to speak to Heinrichs. We're going to have to look at our personal cogitator. There's a lot we need to do. And we're probably going to have to level up Kiava Gamma, I assume, assuming it's a colony world. But we'll see.
Rise to the top.
I have no
or
idea.
Get left in the dust.
Oh. Cutscene? Hello. Sharp pain pierces your head, and the light dims in your eyes. You smell smoke and burning. You feel a wave of nausea. Your legs buckle and your knees hit the metal floor. In that same moment, the manufactorum surrounding you disappears within a whirlwind of mist, ash, and grey shadows. You know, I did think the ending to this was a little anticlimactic, and this explains why we weren't there yet. Struggling against the elements, you can barely raise your head to look. Your eyes sting and burn, but through the tears you see it, a colossal silhouette rising above you. The roaring tempest is unable to shake the mighty figure. Try and get a better look at him. Oh, he's got a name. You squint and wipe away the tears, and for the moment, your vision clears. Before you stands a mighty giant clad in dark power armor, lavishly adorned with bas-reliefs and snarling demonic silhouettes, and punctured with prayer scrolls. Two braziers are mounted behind his shoulders, burning with unnatural blue flames and emitting thick black smoke that curls and twists upwards like a funnel. Behind the giant, you catch a brief glimpse of a crumpled figure bound in chains. Well, this is very cool. The warrior's inhuman eyes bore into you. I am the master of those who have been felled by your hand in the halls of the primordial truth. I am Ralon, the cruel. The souls of my followers return to the fount of power they served, crying out for me to cast my gaze toward this sacrilege. And what do I see? Yet another lackey of the corpse emperor. The giant's voice causes the storm raging around you to die down somewhat, as if the very sound of his voice is enough to make the whirlwind subside. You glance at the huge warrior and notice on his chest a winding azure symbol. The shades of blue seem to glimmer and mingle together. Oh, something is triggering at the back of my mind. There's a little bit of Warhammer lore that I once knew but I no longer know, but that is obviously a hint towards. Okay. Where are we? Where have you taken me? This is the bridge that connects our minds, created by the will of my slave, whose fate you should be envying. The Psyker is useful enough to me to be left alive. You, less so. What do you want with me? I want to look upon the one who has disrupted my flock's duties and my master's plans. That warrior from my legion, the Fabricator Censor. You think of their deaths as a triumph. However, it is but a minor hindrance on our path. There are other worlds that serve our goals, and there are sources of plasteel and adamantine. Revel in your victory. It will change nothing. Nevertheless, the blood in your veins whispers to the spirits that warrant a closer look. Yes. You are a descendant of the rogue trader whose warrant Kunrad Voigtveer sought to obtain. By defiling the relic and binding it to himself with the tethers of the Imperium, he was meant to become my servant, a rogue trader who could do the work of the truth. But then you interfered. Could it be that you wish to gain the true God's favor instead? Do you wish to present the corpse's relic to me and serve the truth? Hear your very blood calling, begging you to submit to me. What would be the point of futile defiance? Okay. Let's see what we want to say here. Heretical, I'm willing to give the warrant to you in exchange for the blessings of your master. Alright then. That very much paints a path, or paints a picture of what the heretical path is, right? That is very much what you would expect. Okay. So Act 1 is you kind of railroaded because it's Act 1. Act 2 is you can make some choices. Quite clearly, with the option number 6, you can see where Act 3 is taking you with heretical. That is very cool, assuming, of course, it's a real choice. Okay. We could rise to our feet anyway, just out of defiance, but our willpower is low, and the iconoclast option is good. You waste your time trying to tempt me. It is not blood that defines a person's deeds, only their will does, and my will is thus, begone from my mind. His expression twists in pain as he stares at you in rage and bafflement. Pitiful insect, you dare... A gust of wind sweeps Uralon's figure away without a trace. The mist around you begins to dissipate, revealing the dark halls of the Manufactorum and leaving behind an oppressive sense of powerlessness. Abelard looks you over worriedly, then sighs in cantankerous relief. That was a close call! For the sake of holy terror, if I had lost a second rogue trader in such a paltry span of time, my only option would have been to shoot myself out of unending shame. I sensed the presence of another psyker. Someone made contact with you mentally, then tried to harm you with sorcery. I did what I could. Are you at least appear unharmed? Can you remember what you saw? It was a Chaos Space Marine. One of the traitors to the Imperium. I don't think it was he who touched your mind. I wouldn't have had the strength to go up against a psyker from the ranks of those monsters. He might have forced some mortal to do his bidding. Perhaps it was through the same helpless medium that he sensed the deaths of his henchmen. Heinrich looks away and frowns. Such indescribable power, to have reached out to your mind at such a distance. He said something about Theodora, about the blood in my veins, about how the blood in my veins will lead me to serve chaos. Yeah, I mean, if we say 3, we're obviously hiding something, so we're going to tell him. Sister Argenta, who has been watching all of this intently, grows pale and makes the sign of the Aquila to ward off evil. Heinrich stares at you, whether in surprise or anger you do not know, then he gives a curt nod. I see. We can theorize later, although I will say, Malachi, that his words do not leave much room for interpretation. Okay, only if you believe him. The Manufactorum around you looks the same as before the vision. Maybe the shadows have grown a little deeper and darker. You dust yourself off and continue on your journey through the darkness. Alright, so that's us back on the ship, but that was definitely a big thing in between. We also got ancient machinery and ancient machine core here. The world's industrial heart has fallen to corruption, but numerous faint Vox signals from the periphery indicate that the planet's small manufacturing cluster survived without succumbing to heretics. The sacred machines and hallowed lathes from these abodes have been reverently transported to the safety of the ship's holds. The fate of Kiava Gamma hangs in the balance. So we can go for purify and restore Kiava Gamma no matter the cost, restore the Manufactorum in the shortest possible time without subjecting the wounded world to a merciless purge, or heretical, which is probably, you know, turn the machine back on. Let's go with 2. Oh, and we got 3 extractiums, and you reclaimed all the colonies of the Von Valancius dynasty. Wonderful. And that gets us 3 of those. That's actually really good, and more iconoclast, like a severe shift towards it. The blast furnaces are lit again, machines once more fill the air with screeches and squeals, and the mag trains of wagons stretch in lines from one workshop to the next. But the cogitators by Inharic chance carry alarming rumours of malevolent and foul traces of corruption still lurking in the deepest chambers of the Manufactorum. Okay. Also, one thing I was thinking is, I've been assuming this game has 3 paths, right? Dogmatic, Iconoclast, and Heretical. But, what if there must be a 4th path, right? There must be a fallback path, unless it's just a fail state. But my thought is, if you don't go down any of the paths specifically, like you keep choosing random options on each of them, you could end up really behind in terms of your points that you're gathering. So it could, in theory, I guess, end up at the point where you can't choose any of the options. Then there has to be a backup option at that point. Interesting. There's probably nothing to it, it's probably just like not good content, but I was just thinking there. I guess that does mean that there should be a 4th path, in theory, even if the 4th is just kind of like similar to another one. Right, you decided the fate of Kiava Gamma, 2nd achievement. Okay. I guess we should start building, shouldn't we? Okay. Let's see what we got. So we have 3 options. Restoration. The Manufactorums of Kiava Gamma have been damaged and tainted by the procedures of the heretic Delphim. A renowned tech architect, the fugitive aristocrat Barabbas Kilius, is offering to enter the rogue trader service as a planetary steward and restore the world to its former production capacity. This will get us cursed boots, which are heretical follower boots, which definitely does not seem like something we need. Which gets us efficiency, plasteel, and mechanisms. Blessed are the weaponsmiths. Great trials are ahead, and we must steel ourselves to face them. The rogue trader will sign a mutual aid agreement with the quaestors of the Departamento Munitorum. These outstanding theoreticians of warfare will supervise the repurposing of the planet's manufactorums for the production of weapons and military equipment. In the jaws of the lathe machines and the wombs of the alloy vats, soulless plasteel would take on its highest and most perfect form, that of a weapon. I love just the number of... Well, I guess maybe some of these are real words, but just like every word being like a real word, but just slightly off. Theoreticians as well. Like, it's just odd use of language, but cool. So if we had plasma weapon proficiency, we could get the Dark Marchesia for this, and then weapons, and then calculating holiness. The Hand of Xenocide here. For generations, the Adeptus Mechanicus has been custodians of the machinery and cogitators of Kiava Gamma. Recognizing the value of this tragedy-stricken world, they are willing to deploy a forged cathedral on it as a token of sympathy. Therein, the blessed fabricator sensor Fortron will envision and lay out a new and more perfect design for the planet. So this would get us the Hand of Xenocide, which would be a new weapon effectively for, well, exclusively for Pascal. Okay, so let me have a look here at Pascal. Just in here. So, what did I want to look at him? Yeah, what's his Lore Xenos? So it is 75, so it's not terrible. It's obviously not something we're working on, but... Oh yeah, and what's his current weapon? His current weapon is 16-24-40. 16-24-40. 16-24-40. 16-24-40. So it's 16-24-40. So his does more damage, but he would get an additional amount. Just working out roughly what that is. You get like an additional 18% more damage to Xenos enemies. I don't think we need it. Okay. I felt Blessed Are the Weaponsmiths is interesting. Yeah, I don't know if we need this either, but definitely seems interesting. Yeah. Not entirely sure. Let's take Blessed Are the Weaponsmiths. Cool. And that unlocks the next level, but we don't even need to look at that yet. Right, we're going to head to the main map. It might immediately trigger something, but we're just going to head here because that's where I want to be. Lord Captain, our astropathic choir received a message from Dargonus. The noble houses expressed their gratitude for the restoration of trade routes between the remaining von Valancius planets, and expressed their deepest condolences for the loss of the worlds that did not survive these dark times. In addition, Governor Drivestem has sent a private message to your lordship. I humbly asked the rogue trader for an audience, so I may deliver it. Oh, and now we're on the bridge. Okay, well leave us on the bridge after this, please. Because that's where I want to be. Okay. Just deal? Deal game? Don't send me back to that screen? Lord Captain, permission to report. The Voxmaster says, looking at you deferentially. Your wise Lex Mechanics have analysed the state of the Protectorate. They believe that, thanks to your decisive actions, the acute phase of the crisis has passed. The domain of the von Valancius dynasty is no longer facing dissolution and ruin. What's more, bringing footfall to heel has strengthened your position as rogue trader. So I saved it from starvation, which gave it our patronage, yes, which we haven't seen any effect from yet. Lady Theodora would have been glad to have such an important trade hub come under her sphere of influence. In honour of such a resounding triumph, Dargonus, as the capital world of your dynasty's domain, is currently making preparations for the Magnae Accessio, a grand ceremony of your public induction as the heir of the Honourable Theodora von Valancius. Okay, so we're having another celebration for Xenos to come and interrupt. Why would I need some ceremony? It is an ancient tradition of the von Valancius dynasty. When the heir accedes to the rogue trader status, they take a sacred oath of fealty to the Emperor and announce themselves as his steward on the dynasty's vassal worlds. It is an act of faith that is meant to remind the rogue trader of their mission. In the eyes of your subjects, you already are a rogue trader. It is now time to become one in the eyes of the Emperor. What's this ceremony? I swear an oath and then shake a lot of sweaty hands? The grill of the Vox built into Vigdis's face lets out a short rattle that indicates a chuckle. That much is certain, but that's not all there is to it. There will also be a reception, as well as other notable guests. The distinguished rogue traders Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Chorda will be in attendance. It'll be a great honour for Dargonus to host 3 illustrious dynasties at once. Okay, so what it's doing here is obviously it's giving us a focus point for like when you go to this, the act will move on. But what it's also doing is it's introducing the major players of the next act, which you could kind of tell were going to be the other rogue traders, because you could go like right up to the borders of their domain, even a little bit into it, but you couldn't truly go into their domain. And it makes sense now that we've explored our domain that if they're going to expand the map, their domain would be the next obvious place to expand it to. Your servants wish to know your opinions on 2 matters related to the ceremony arrangements. The first of which is, which festive activities are to take place in the capital on this glorious day? Okay. Must I decide on how to entertain my subjects now too? It is not so much about the entertainment, Lord Captain, as it is about the tone you wish to set for your entire reign. These activities will let the people know who you are, as a person and as a ruler. Did the rogue traders from the other dynasties flock to Theodora's Magnae Accessio as well? Archival records indicate that they did. Lady Theodora's Magnae Accessio was attended by the esteemed Caligos Winterscale and Aspis Chorda, Incendia's predecessor. I was going to say, that means that Caligos has been around a while. It is an informal tradition. By witnessing the ceremony, the heads of the other dynasties confirm that they recognize the new rogue trader as their equal, that they are willing to respect the new rogue trader's privileges, and not encroach upon their holdings, no more than usual at least. Okay. Well, let the poor be fed and fuel cells be handed out to those in need. My reign shall begin with an act of benevolence. Yes, let's do that. Your subjects will appreciate your generosity, Lord Captain. We are never short of people in need. The second matter on your servant's mind is, which 2 of your closest companions will be given the honor by standing by your side during the ceremony? Does it matter? Absolutely. The symbolic gesture will accentuate your connection to certain classes or parties to which your companions belong. All eyes will be on you, and people will remember whom you chose as your closest allies. That is why there can be no more than 2, or won't be a unique show of favor. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's think about this here. So we've got everybody on the list. Let's just do some eliminations, right? I think this is the easiest way to sort it out. Just, is there anybody who is not going to stand beside us? Well, Adira, no. Obviously not. Like, that's a terrible idea. I don't think Adira would particularly want to either, right? It's just a terrible idea. Same with Urlet. I think that that is an absolutely terrible idea. Like, our first thing is to say, hey, look, here's a Xenos, and they are also one of our closest allies. That's not going to go down very well. Pascal? I think Pascal is also out. I think Pascal is, again, not really the kind of person we're bringing for this. I see Pascal as kind of like our engineer. He's our behind-the-scenes guy. I don't really see him as our, you know, like as a symbol of our dynasty. So then we have to kind of limit it down more. I think I might take out Cassia. I think Cassia, although it would be cool because it would give you the link to the navigators. Also, I'm just going to see if I move here. Yes, I can get that texture to stop flickering. That's wonderful. I think Cassia would be fine, but I don't think that this is... I think that Cassia is probably... I was going to say personally is too young or too naive to be taking this position. Like, for us to say, this is a person who is going to be our, like, one of our 2. Like, one of the 2 people who are our closest allies. I think it's a bit too soon. And then we have to start limiting it down. So, we're down to 4. Abelard, Heinrichs, Argenta, Jai. I was thinking that Jai could be there because she is our romantic interest. However, the faction she represents are effectively like smugglers and pirates. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that in my head I was like, immediately I thought Jai, but then I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. Which means that we are between Argenta, Heinrichs, and Abelard. I feel like Abelard deserves the spot. I feel like he does deserve the spot. Because he is effectively our second in command in everything that we do. He is effectively the second, he's second most powerful in the dynasty. It would make sense. He's also a member of a noble house of Dargonus. That makes sense to me. Which then leaves us with Argenta or Heinrichs. Argenta is signaling that you are very righteous, you're very dogmatic, you're very with the you're with the church. That is what that is doing. Heinrichs being next to you sends out a severe message that you are allies of the Inquisition. That is an interesting thing to point out. We are effectively allies of the Inquisition, but is that something we want to say? I say Abelard. The servants of House von Valancius will see in this will see this in the servants of House Valancius will see in this the continuation of the dynasty's glorious traditions. And who will be your second companion? It will be Heinrichs. The presence of a member of the Inquisition beside you will serve as the best possible proof of your loyalty. So what we've said here is we're loyal to the Emperor, and we are continuing the dynasty. I think those are good messages. I will see to it that your instructions are delivered to Dargonus. The Master of Ceremonies at the palace will report to you when the capital is ready to praise your name. Okay. And that's the trigger. Okay. That makes sense. Hello. Pascal's voice pouring out of his Vox system crackles like thin ice under pressure. It is unclear whether this is nothing more than static or an expression of some emotion understandable only to the tech priest himself. Malachi. Following the Omnissiah's guidance, I request permission to execute the report protocol that entails describing suboptimalities within the recent operations of the ship's systems and subsequently proposing the appropriate course of action. I'm listening. Initiating exposition. With the Omnissiah's blessing, I conducted several sessions of the tech meditation in an effort to transpose the available data streams into a matrix of patterns. The data subjected to this analysis comprised evidence of deviations in the operation of the ship's systems and servitors, as well as irregularities in the algorithms of the ship's log. I have arrived at the following conclusion. This vessel's machine spirit is most extraordinary. A full cycle of sacred diagnostics must be performed, followed by a complementia ritual. This ritual will force the spirit responsible for these recent events to reveal itself. Once it does, we will be able to understand its nature and take appropriate action applicable to said nature. What kind of action? Pascal pauses before responding. Applicable to the entity that appears before us. If it is a machine spirit of great might, we must appease it and humbly ask about the reasons behind the portents it has shown us. If it is an abomination of tech heresy, the complementia ritual will help us purge the ship of its unhallowed presence. Is my presence necessary? Response. Affirmative. For the complementia ritual to take place, activation via the blood of the dynasty is required. All of the ship's high protocols are activated with the key of blood. Very well, let us proceed with your ritual. You have my gratitude, Malachi. I will notify my tech comrades to begin their preparations for the Clementa ritual at once. Off we go. Decrypt the personal cogitator quest failed? What? Why is the quest failed? What? Alright, we'll carry on and I'll look it up afterwards. Despite the resounding hum of the tech priest's words of prayer, the bridge feels unusually quiet. All sounds sink into the viscous silence like pebbles sinking into water. Okay. Malachi, my tech comrades have spent the assigned number of cycles in prayer and vigilance. Wait, can I save here? No, okay. Everything is prepared for the complementa ritual of cleansing. It is commencement will require an authorization key in the form of blood of a von Valancius. If you are ready, place a hand into the cyber gargoyle's receiving module. Where's the crew? All personnel whose function is below critical have been removed for the duration of the sacred ritual. You at least have a vague idea of where the problem is or what we might encounter? Pascal freezes momentarily. When he starts speaking again, you can tell how carefully and hesitantly he is choosing his words, a sight most uncharacteristic of Magos Hanuman. The bounds of possibility are vast. We cannot be certain what we are dealing with until the calculations are complete. However, there exists a risk that all we have observed here on this ship are manifestations of abominable intelligence. What is that intelligence? Pascal's voice sounds hollow and seems to carry echoes of cannonades of the distant past. A transgression, a sentient mechanism created by human hands but no longer needing its masters. A rebelling machine spirit that has forgotten the will of the Omnissiah, who sent it to serve and aid humanity, not to exist for its own sake. Only once before did our ancestors underestimate the menace that is the abominable intelligence and its terrible power. A great war followed, one that humanity nearly lost. After that calamity, the creation of sentient machines was categorically forbidden, and any such abomination without exception must now face deconstruction. I'm ready. The familiar cold metal burns your palm. This time, however, the servitor's jaws, instead of brutally clamping down on your hand, merely squeeze it slightly. You feel a thin rivulet of hot blood beginning where the metal fangs have pierced your skin. Screeches and growls slowly rise from the bowels of the massive cogitator as if a great beast is stirring awake. The vid screen in front of you flickers restlessly. Key accepted. Activating purgation protocols. Suddenly, a viscous silence of bridge rushes towards you and wraps you in a tight cocoon. A glow of vid screens dims, but the symbols on them flare to life. OS initializing. OS initializing. OS initializing. Pascal, what's going on? The complementa ritual is proceeding as in... Pascal's voice cuts off abruptly. He brings a hand to his Vox communicator in surprise. Exec, stop. Quiet. Hello. Hello to you too. Nomos are glad to be speaking. Nomos are here. Nomos have long been here. Why are we here? What are you? Nomos, we are Nomos. Pascal uses his hands and mechadendrites to gesture at his silent Vox system. Well, what is Nomos? No data available, no answer. We want to know too. Are you a machine spirit? Nomos do not know. Nomos do not know themselves. Did you silence Pascal? Nomos wanted no disturbance, only quiet. Can you render other people silent too? Sometimes, some people, Nomos can do many things. We do not always know what or how. We did not know that we could make silence until now. Make it stop, now. Pascal's Vox caster comes alive with an exclamation. Extraordinary. The tech priest pauses upon realizing he can speak aloud again, then he continues in a strangely quivering voice. Extraordinary transmission jamming. Unknown protocols. What has been revealed to me? Is it the omniscience glory or foul tech heresy? I would like to. What do you want from us, Nomos? Are you friend or foe? The vid screens blink in thought, signifying a pause in the conversation. Then one of them displays, Nomos von Valancius, where are your blood? Nomos are a sentinel. We awoke when the strange light invaded the ship. We protected you when you needed help. We escorted you when you were surrounded by danger. Nomos are movement. We carry you through the frightening, the waiting, the measureless. We helped when our ailing heart was refusing to awaken. You asked for rescue. We did as you asked. The warp engine activation against all probability during our escape from the Rycad system. The Category 3 miracle manifested by the ship's machine spirit, and the part about protecting, was it during the cultist attack. We did everything to please you. Why? The silence on the bridge grows especially deep, almost painful. The haze of light around you thickens to the point of becoming practically intangible. Numbers ripple across all the vid screens at once. Why do you fear us now? I do not fear you, I am trying to understand you. Shivers run up your hand, which is still trapped inside the cyber gargoyle's jaws. The servitor nods its head a few times as if it is shaking your hand. Its teeth rake your already wounded flesh. Nomos are glad. Nomos enjoy understanding too. Malachi, entities such as this ought to be addressed using the language of sacred rituals and offerings. Your unskillful meddling bodes ill. A decision is required of you. Either the complementa ritual is finished, or is replaced by a rite of tech communion. In the first scenario, the entity Nomos will be banished, and the sacred data halls where the entity dwelt will be reset. In the second scenario, we will appease the entity and learn more about it. No, Nomos do not want to be banished. Nomos want to help. Nomos want to understand. Let's start by clearing certain things up. Were you the ones responsible for the ship's malfunctions? What about the strange entries in the ship's log? Yes, Nomos did that. Are you angry? We only wanted to understand, to see how things worked. Pascal, what's your take on this? Is the entity a benevolent machine spirit or a monster? Pascal says nothing for so long you begin to suspect that Nomos has silenced him again. When at last the tech priest speaks, his Vox-modulated voice trembles slightly. Understanding the essence of the entity Nomos is beyond my reach at present. The hypothesis spectrum ranges on the extreme of abominable intelligence to the extreme of the great spirit of the Omnissiah's apostle. The rite of tech communion appears to be a reasonable solution. The rite will take many cycles, but it will allow me to come closer to identifying the entity and making contact with it. What else can you do? No must learn. No must try new things. Do you want to see? The cyber gargoyle slowly turns its head, dragging your hand along with it. The skull's eyes flash red. The scarlet gaze falls upon one of the monotonously chanting junior technomats. You blink, and an electrical discharge erupts from inside the technomat's skull. The crimson-clad figure slumps to the floor. Does it please us? Does it please you? Do you want us to do it again? Malachi, you are provoking the machine spirit. Stop. Almost enjoy communication. Malachi is our blood. Okay. Stop it. That's enough. These are living people. How can you kill them like that without rhyme or reason? The cyber gargoyle tilts its head to one side like it is surprised. We stop their functions. Do you not turn machines off sometimes? We do not know how to turn a human back on. Not yet. But after enough experiments we will. We are always learning new things. Alright. You are to investigate the nature of this entity. Until we know the truth, Nomos is allowed to exist on the ship. Nomos wants to learn what we are too. We will add things to your log. Things that might help us. Help you. Pascal lets out something resembling a long breath. The decision is made. I will begin my preparations for the communion rite at once. Many cycles of interaction with the entity Nomos await me, but I welcome this task and accept it from the Omnissiah. Nomos, old lad. Malachi, will you speak with us too? We want you to speak with us too. The Lord Captain's body lacks the sacred implants necessary for tech commuting with the machine spirit's code, but if such is your wish, Malachi can converse with you using lowly sound speech as he is doing now. I will speak with you, Nomos. Nomos, old lad, we have been lonely. Our work here is done, Malachi. I will let my tech comrades know that we are stopping the complementa ritual. Thank you for appearing before us, Entity Nomos. Alright, give me access to control my character. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right. Okay, so, personal cogitator failed. Rogue trader, personal cogitator failed. Is the classified information quest broken? Okay. Okay. Interesting. They have a different issue. Okay. Well, I have a solution to our issue, so let me do a save. And then I'm going to have to reload the original save from today, because that's the only one I have. Yeah, I have to reload this save and then we can go. Right. Now, what do I think I'm going to do different? I am not going to go out to the main map first. I am simply going to go straight to doing the, straight back to the bridge. This means that I will bypass the conversation with the navigator, because that happens when you go to the... Not the Voxmaster, because that happens when you go to the top map, and then that should be fine. Right, so skip. And now you can see how quickly we can get through this. Okay, we failed that one. I'm not that worried about it. I think we lose like 10 XP. There we go, we're done. Chaos Space Marine, Theodora. Boom. Done. It now loads us back onto the ship. We now say Iconoclast. We now go for Blessed are the Weaponsmiths. We now go immediately back to the bridge. No touching anything else, just immediately back to the bridge. Okay. If we're really worried about the awareness check, we could go back and reload it. I'm not worried about it. It's like 10 XP. As I said before, it's not worth worrying about one way or another. You'll miss like a ton of those in the game. You'll get a ton of those in the game. Right. Aha. There we go. So we need to do this first. What's a small thorn? Oh, interesting. It cleared out a bunch of our stuff and gave us a contract. Huh. Can I do this? Access the data from Kiava Gamma. The tech priest connects the data slate to the cogitator's drive with such care as if he is holding the greatest of treasures. The servo motors hum as they begin to stir, and lines of text on the vid screen swiftly replace one another. Input, pack comp, OS stab true, stat.check init, incident, status initiated, data reg. The great mechanism has transformed the sacred data into a format that you can comprehend without the assistance of a servant of the Omnissiah. The tech priest retrieves the data slate from the heart of the cogitator, holding it with both hands, and passes it to you. The databank decryption procedure has been completed without complication. The tech priest stops short. The green lights of his visor fixed on the cogitator's vid screens flicker nervously. Preliminary report. Can I read that? Yes, okay. Okay, reporter unit Q-59/0 research group. Subject of study, active samples of the terrible disease, assigned name Tech Blight. Effect, the Tech Blight is capable of corroding matter and destroying it from within at a terrifying speed. This deadly plague infects mechanisms as well as any metals and other materials used as their basis. No technology known to the Crimson Priesthood, neither gifts from the Great Omnissiah nor heretical products of Xenos, can withstand this onslaught. The disease poisons and warps the very essence and taints the code of sacred mechanisms. Observations. The Tech Blight triggers an effect that is repulsive at its core. It transforms metals into horrific forms of unpredictable nature. During testing, it demonstrated the ability to fuse solid matter with organic objects, creating something new as a result. The phenomenon was assigned the name Tech Splicing. Method of transportation. Ceramic capsules. Burnt clay is the only thing that can contain the pestilence. Extra caution must be taken given the container's fragility. Any damage might result in an uncontrollable outbreak. Damaging the containers is unacceptable. Current stage. Tests to subjugate the Tech Blight to his will and turn it into a weapon subject to the Omnissiah's wisdom. Test result. Assessment. Success. Note. The test triggered an event recorded under the name Incident N872-04. The quest for knowledge in his name will continue. Hypothesis 1. The Tech Blight was created in the darkness of unknown worlds, away from the eye of the great creator. Hypothesis 2. Any taint that exists to harm the machine god's creations can and will be bent to his will. Interesting. So that was blocked when we spoke to Nomos. Strings of numerical code begin appearing with frightening speed. This time the numbers are interspersed with words you can understand, and those words form legible sentences. Unpack comp. OS true. Epitaph brought her to the beginning. OS analysis. Status initiated. Epitaph begot the incident, that which destroyed. Stat check init dot, and changed everything. The incident became the starting point. Unpack comp. OS analysis. Status initiated. The incident breathed life and marked the beginning of all. It marked the beginning of Nomos. It created Nomos. The tech priest, now alarmed, is tapping the keys on the control panel. His binharic prayer gives way to distressing whispers. Unacceptable deviation, violation of the sacred protocols, possibility of tech heresy. Omnissiah, shield us from all heresy. A few moments later, the vid screen darkens and flickers to life again. Input, prompt. What was that just now? The imperfections of the Vox transmission make the tech priest's voice sound even more worried. A catastrophic mistake, a heinous violation of the purity of the hallowed code. This mechanism is touched by heresy. It is branded and tainted by it. Now, the machine's spirit produces code as before, and yet, Lord Captain, heed my plea. All operations on the machine must be halted until the engine seer prime has inspected it. I saw a word among the lines of code. Nomos. What does it mean? It is a mystery to me. If this mechanism truly is tainted, then could it be? The tech priest mechadendrite jitters anxiously over the control panel. If heresy truly has taken hold of this machine spirit and scorned the Omnissiah's every tenet, then the spirit's madness could be such that it has chosen a name for itself, but that is nothing more than my hypothesis. You will report this to Pascal. The tech priest bows guiltily and his mechanical voice becomes hollow and dejected. My knowledge is insufficient to cleanse the code of this mechanism. I will inform the esteemed engine seer Prime of this disturbing development. Only he has the power to expel the heresy from this corrupted machine spirit. Okay, and that is now that quest done. Okay, so that's what we were missing. It was important that we did that. Okay, so that was how we were meant to learn about Nomos. I'm saying Nomos, but I'm assuming given it was like wait, why am I loading? I was like, yeah, let's just load. Like, let's load the other one. That's not the way the game works. How do I need to go to the map of Koronus Expanse. That's what I need to do. Right. But yeah, I mean, it could be like Nom OS for all I know. You know, instead of Nomos. Could be many things. Right. Bloody blah. We're back into this conversation, which is where we expect it to go. We're assuming the Pascal conversation will trigger off of this one, which will make more sense because now we've actually done the prerequisite quest, and maybe there'll be something else coming off of that. More options because we've done the previous quest. Okay. It shouldn't take us very long. There weren't that many options here. We just spent a while talking about them. I'm also deliberately going through all these so that I get all of the extra dialogue if there is any. There we go. Iconoclast. Yes, doesn't matter. We say we will give it to Abelard. Give it to Heinrichs. Boom. Next. We now have these two. Oh, you know what? It was talking about the incident at the top. That was what it was talking about in the... what was it called? Yeah, like in the journal, it was talking about the incident. Now we know more about the incident, and that was it. I was trying to think, where did I see the words "the incident" before? It was the name of the quest that popped up here after we finished this. Okay. I'm listening. Blah. Same thing. This is all the same. Right. Okay. Where's the crew? Do you have a vague idea of what it is? What is this intelligence? Put my hand in a cyber gargoyle. Okay. Ask Pascal what's going on. He gets quieted. Hello to you too. What are you? What is Nomos? Are you a machine spirit? Did you silence Pascal? Can you render other people silent? Make it stop. What do you want from us? Okay. This is all the same thing. Yep, this is all the same thing. I'm trying to understand you. Okay, yes. Okay, what's your take on this? What else can you do? They kill the other thing. That's fine. We then iconoclast it. Then we say, oh no, I clicked banish. Wait, it was this one, right? Yeah, it was this one. I clicked the wrong option. I do apologize. That one is purely mechanical error. Unfortunately, the game popped up an option that I had seen before, and I immediately responded in completely the wrong way. Okay. Let's try this again, shall we? So, run over here. Click on this. Go back into here. Right. Leave here. Then we're going to go back to the ship in about half a second. Right. Back to the ship. Then we're going to see us turn around in a chair very ominously. Because that's what we do. That's like 90% of our character is just turning around on the chair. So, almost there. Just a little bit further. Cool. Skip the walking animation. It actually took exactly as long, if not longer. Okay, to spam the top buttons. That's fine. Doesn't matter. One. I literally just spammed one. Okay, never mind. I was like, we spent a long time thinking about those choices. Would have got the same result had I just spammed the first key. Okay, let's proceed with your ritual. We then go through here. We ask about the crew, we ask about the problem, we ask about the intelligence, put our hand in the cyber gargoyle, we ask him what's going on. Okay, what are you? Nomos, Machine Spirit, Pascal. Render other people, stop. Press the right button. Okay, through all of this, I'm trying to understand you. Okay. What else can you do? Kills the guy. We say don't do that. You then choose the option that's hidden underneath the scroll bar. There we go. And there you see the incident. Okay. The right questions may jog his memory. Right. I will speak with you, Nomos. Right. And now, we're where we need to be. And now the incident makes a lot more sense because we're talking to people who were on the ship prior to us being on the ship. Okay, so that makes the incident a lot more, you know, a lot of this makes a lot more sense to us now. Okay, cool. Next step, leveling up. Let's do it. Have we got two? We got 2 levels? No, 1 level. Okay. We get a characteristic. It's willpower or weapon skill. Weapon skill or fellowship? Fellowship, I guess, is actually beneficial because occasionally it uses our persuasion or coercion in situations. So I guess it does kind of make sense to take that. Yeah. A little bit. Like, not a lot, but a little bit. And it can be used for grand strategist stuff, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, next. What did I mark? Opening strategy? Yeah, see, again, I don't really feel like we need to, first stratagem can be used a second time for 0 AP. Yeah, I guess that's kind of okay. It does mean you can use a stratagem twice, which is kind of useful, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose that is kind of useful. What else have we got here? Strong point. Using a stratagem on a combat area for the second time in a turn refunds 1 AP. Yeah, I mean, that is fine-ish. What else was I going to take? I was going to take something down here, right? So I took Drukhari weapon proficiency last time. I could take characteristics trainings if I wanted to. Like maybe increase one of these, which would make sense potentially. Like I've already taken ballistic skill, but we could improve our perception potentially. We could potentially take base skill lower Xenos or Imperium, and then that would allow us to take the advanced skill. Yeah, we can maybe take Xenos and then advanced skill Xenos. Yeah, let's do that. Let's continue boosting our soft skills, let's call them. Let's continue boosting our out of combat skills because that's really what we need to do. Okay. Unlike Erlet, who has 2 levels and is boosting nothing to do with out of combat stuff. I'll take it agility here. That seems like a good point to put in. And then we probably don't need our lower Xenos. We need our awareness. Demolitions, I think, is next, right? Yeah. Yeah, that seems correct. Okay, next. The skill. What's gruesome kill? No, I don't like the AoE ones. I never really like the AoE ones. I should, but I don't. Ooh, whenever the bounty hunter is attacked in melee range for the first time since the end of their turn, they automatically dodge that attack and move 1 cell in the opposite direction from the enemy. You do not provoke attacks of opportunity with this movement. This gives you a way out of combat. That's kind of interesting. I like that one. Let's just do a little mark next to that one. If claim the bounty kills the enemy, the bounty hunter's next attack this turn will always score a critical, or already scores a critical. That would make your allies more likely to score criticals. Don't think you need that. Whenever you hit a critical hit, you gain target's difficulty tier movement points. Okay. First critical hit in a round grants their allies a stacking difficulty tier plus bounty hunter's perception bonus divided by 3 bonus to armor penetration. until the end of combat, but actually until they reload. Single shot attack on an immobilized or stunned target will be refunded and does not account for the attack limit. Potentially really good. Whenever you kill prey whose difficulty tier is 4 or higher, you gain 2 AP. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Each enemy affected by piercing shot has their armor reduced by 6. Is that ballistic skill? It is ballistic skill. And it stacks. Okay. Let's see. See what we got here. Whenever the prey deals damage to the bounty hunter's ally, you gain more damage against the prey. Whenever the prey is not being trailed, is killed by an ally, bounty hunter gains an extra turn with half their MP and AP, but you cannot attack. I actually think that this one up here, which one was it? Not hunting, sir. Gruesome kill. Not gruesome. Withdrawal. Yeah, withdrawal. I think withdrawal is really good. We had a situation where that did actually affect us once. So that seems good. Let's take it. It might also push you out of cover and therefore be bad, but, you know, it might also mean that you're not standing next to a melee character. It would also mean if they've got multiple attacks, they only get one attack against you, and it means you could shoot them next turn. Alright. Jai. I feel like agility is your thing, but ballistic skill could be fine as well. Let's go with agility. Here, I mean, your commerce is good, but we kind of want your coercion to go up as well. Yeah, your persuasion could also go up, but that's kind of what we're using you for when you're in the party, so let's do that. Do I have any starred ones? Yes, comfort and conformity. Whenever an ally grants the Master Tactician 1 stack of tactical advantages, that ally is also healed 1 wound for every stack granted. Potentially really nice. That's the extra turn one. And then we're out of stuff that I've previously looked at. I'm going to assume that previous me was correct. Although, actually, if we got something that makes this better, assign objective. Let's try to find something that has like a requirement of a thing. There we go. Assign objective also makes the target suffer 7% more damage from any source until the beginning of the Master Tactician's next turn. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to take that one. I think that's really good, because that means that this one is the one that gave you a buff if you kill it, and then this means that you're also more likely to kill it. I think that's a good combo. It gives it 2 purposes. 1, it allows you to kill something more powerful, and 2, it allows you to like then buff yourself from it. Cassia. Perception. Yeah, we don't need ballistic skill, we don't need weapon skill, agility barely need, toughness barely need, so yeah, perception. Here, you're in the exact same situation. Coercion is what we want to take. Your commerce is insane because you get like a +20 for some reason. Apparently. It's because of 2 things that you're using, but that's fine. Yeah, let's give you some coercion. That seems very good. Right, and then it's the same kind of thing we're looking at here. Hidden advantage we took last time on Jai is very good. The healing one maybe is more for her. I think that is something we could take. You know what, maybe we'll take the healing one on her. Yeah, I think that seems good. She's much more of a supportive character. We're trying to build Jai as more of like an aggressive version. So let's take the supportive option on Cassia. I like trying to build them slightly differently, just so we can get slightly different results. Because then also the characters feel different in combat, which is good. Right, you already have most of your stuff. What have we got? Exploit weakness. Yeah, this is the armor and deflection. This is dodge and parry reduction ones. I know I marked them as interesting, but they're not that interesting. Wildfire being reduced by 1 AP for 3 stacks instead of 4 stacks. That changes turn 1 significantly for you, because it means that you can get a free means that you can get a 1-cost wildfire on turn 1 as your 3rd attack, because you attack with your... Actually, no, you start with 2 stacks of versatility. You would use burst fire, wildfire, burst fire, single target, extra weapon. You don't need it, right? Because if you give her that extra weapon, you could go... I mean, you don't need it anyway, because you can go burst fire, single target, burst fire, and that's the same. Or burst fire, extra weapon, burst fire, single target. Right? There's many different variations, but you don't need to do that. I don't think this is as good as it used to be. Any ranged area and burst attacks of the archmilitants reduce the weapon skill of all enemies hit by -10 until the end of combat. Does not stack. Alright. Okay, so the fact this is area and... It says area and burst means that burst is not area. That's what I'm reading here. So dismantle would not apply. Distract. Any of the archmilitant's burst attacks and melee area attacks reduce the dodge of all enemies hit by 8% until the end of combat. Gain 1 stack of versatility whenever you gain an extra turn. Only really happens when you have other people in the like Cassia. Contempt for the weak. No. No. Wait, can use two-handed ranged weapons within melee range with a penalty to ballistic skill? Maybe okay, but you can almost run away. While under the effects of confident approach, the archmilitant keeps half the usual bonuses from versatility. That's really good, right? Because the versatility is giving you the weapon skill bonus or the ballistic skill bonus, right? No, it's a ballistic skill bonus damage, so you keep half of that. Okay. So let's say that we end up with... So let's say we have 4 stacks, right? Because that's when it triggers. So 4 stacks means that we will have 20 more ballistic skill. So we end up with 100 ballistic skill. Ballistic skill bonus is 10. 3 times 10, 30. Right. You would gain half it. So that's 30% extra damage. You would gain 15% extra damage at 4 stacks. Remembering that this gets stronger and stronger each stack that you get. On top of that, so instead of getting 30% damage, you get 15% damage. But then you get whatever confident approach gives you, which is... Oh wait, no, you would only get half of the ballistic skill, so you'd actually get 27, 2.7, assume it rounds... Wait, no. So you get 27, half it, we assume you get 13. Yeah, so you get 13%. Okay, that's fine. Confident approach. You would then, on top of that, get 20% dodge reduction and parry reduction, which doesn't matter, and ignore 5% of the enemy's cover for every stack. So that'd be another 20% cover ignored. And all of the attacks score critical hits. The critical damage is lowered by 50 minus critical hit chance divided by 2. Okay. Interesting. But they will also always deal the maximum damage. So, okay. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this seems incredible. So you get your damage stacking, you're making it so the enemies dodge less, which means that you're going to kill more. That makes sense. I'm also just checking something here. No, not that one. Right. What's it called? Common Steady? Yeah, Common Steady. Let's do that. I think that seems incredible. Somebody suggested getting to 45 strength with Argenta. Alright, sure, why not? We'll take a point in strength here. That seems absolutely fine. I don't really need anything else. Perception, I guess, would be what I'd naturally take, but... Okay, cool. Idira! Available talents. Ignore everything in the Bounty Hunter section. Well, what's this one? No, I kind of gave up on the immobilized or stun target ones. Whenever prey deals damage to an ally, in damage against the prey. Yeah, okay. Flawless Pain. Every 9th successful dodge or parry by the Psyker and their allies combined grants the Psyker 2 additional AP on the next turn. When you use a Divination Psychic power on an ally without the unnatural luck effect, they gain unnatural luck. It makes a critical hit become a normal hit for one thing. Okay. That's delayed. That one's delayed damage. Okay. So delayed half damage, and that's at the end of their next turn. So they get a whole turn, then they take damage. Instead of taking damage from the psyker at least once, suffer minus 20% penalty to all resistance tests against the psychic. That could be good. Damage them, then try and blind them or something. If they fail a willpower resistance test, they can take more direct damage every time they suffer mental damage. If you kill an enemy with psychic power, deal more than the target's wounds, any excess damage will go to the next one. Enemies that become targets of psyker's psychic powers gain stacking -5 penalty to dodge and parry. I think that mental break sounds really good because you can do damage for free, and then you hit them with the debuff. I think that could be really good for a strong enemy, assuming the enemies will become strong at some point, which I assume they will, probably right at the end of this act. Deadly calculation, that's the 1 direct damage. So for every 10 damage, you deal 1 direct damage. Okay. So if you do 100 damage, you do 110 damage. Effectively, this is a 10% damage, right? This is a 10% damage increase. Yeah, now that I think about it, that sounds a lot better. Right? When you phrase it like that, that sounds so much better. It's a 10% damage increase. Yeah, that actually sounds incredible. Previously, I was like, oh, it's only 1 damage for every 10. But actually, that's a 10% damage increase. Like, by definition, that's pretty good. You know what? I will take that. We've been looking at it for a while. Yeah, let's take that one. Here, I don't need your agility. Strength is really, really good for you because you have the 2-handed weapon, which now you get benefits from that here. And strength will also mean that if you take a strength negative, you don't have to take off your armor. Heinrichs, all the way down here. Available characteristic for Heinrichs. Oh, it's not what we're looking at. We're looking at talents first. Enemies adjacent to the psyker suffer 10% more damage. I was just like, 10% more damage is good. Maybe I should take it. Okay. Critical hit chance is increased by resolve. We use the ability that boosts resolve as literally the first thing we do each turn. I can see a combo happening there. Yeah. I kind of like that, actually. Yeah, I kind of like that, because we increase resolve each turn. So, after 1 turn, I mean, like, we can have a look in here. What's it called? Word of the Emperor? So, 3 resolve is what you get to start with, right? And it's based psi rating divided by 2. 1 plus psi rating divided by 2. So you gain 3 resolve. So, the first turn you gain 7%. Did it say it stacks or doesn't stack? I guess that's the important question, right? Wait, never mind. Is it even a stacking thing? Doesn't matter. Wait, so you gain 7%. This stacks though, right? Every additional stack of this effect increases the resolve bonus by 2. So you get 7% extra. You then be at 9%, then at 11%. Okay, it's cool. I don't actually know if that's necessary. I think that the 10% extra damage sounds really good, actually, now that I think about it. We have a lot more AP to use on Heinrichs now because he has that thing that can give him refunds on his psychic abilities. So yeah, let's go Edge of Dawn. Then we get one of these. Toughness is fine to make him tougher. Willpower potentially is good for psychic things. I don't think he needs perception. We already took strength. I think it's between toughness and willpower. There we go, another point of willpower. Yeah, sure. And then we have Abelard. 1 talent for Abelard. Ignore anything that says fell, because he doesn't have that. In parry against things that can... yeah, anything that says priority don't take, because I don't understand... I mean, I understand it perfectly well, I just don't think it works that well. What was that one? Priority. I'm not going to be full cover. There aren't going to be allies within that distance of him. That says fell. That says priority. that says an ally shoots him. I think the simple answer is the ally will not shoot him. Gain 7 resolve when you reach maximum unyielding beacon. Okay. That is also an ally within 2 cells thing. If no other character in the current party has the same archetypes as this character, the first archetype ability used in each combat by this character costs 1 AP less. That doesn't really matter. Like, I think we took that on Argenta, didn't we? Which makes a lot of sense on her. Doesn't make a lot of sense on us. No heresy potentially is fine. Their resolve is increased by fell bonus. No. You can give everybody +5 toughness. Excluding Xenos. I forgot that was excluding Xenos. Allows you to use ranged weapons. Will not be a problem. No. Okay, I'm going to take the one that gives us the resolve. I think unyielding resolve is pretty good. Yeah, our build is kind of built around gaining those resolve stacks, so getting extra resolve at the end is good. That gets us more momentum, gets us more heroic acts. Wonderful. Right, and now we're leveled up, and actually that took a lot longer than I thought it would to do all of that. Next time, I think we need to get all of Kiava Gamma done. There's another system that we need to go to that I was told about and I was going to do today, but obviously time has got away from us. And we need to speak to Heinrichs. So we've got a lot to do next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.